Ben Riggs presents D&D Out Loud, episode 105. Is Delta Green happening in the real world?
Welcome, one and all, to D&D Out Loud with Ben Riggs. I am Ben Riggs, apparently controversial D&D historian and the author of Slaying the Dragon, A Secret History of Dungeons & Dragons. And over the past 13 years of writing and podcasting, I have met hundreds of creative geniuses in and around the world of tabletop role-playing games. And here on this show, I asked two of these flaming torches of the human imagination to come on and have a fascinating discussion, which I then record and send out into the world. Ross Payton is the man with the golden throat. He has been podcasting continuously since George W. Bush was president and YouTube was still good. He has won more ENnies than I have nipples, and he created his own role-playing game, Base Raiders. But my favorite piece of his is the Night Clerk, a system-free horror scenario, which reminds me of a piece from Delta Green, actually. But that's something I think we're going to get into in this discussion. Audience, please welcome a slumming Ross Payton.
Hey, it's Ross Payton with Roleplay Public Radio.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I heard it live. Finally, I can die. Like, wow.
Yeah, no, I'm. The thing is, my wife, like, when we're alone, is like, you can't do the announcer voice. So, like, it's only in groups now at this point. So I'm just,
I mean,
happy to use it at all.
The things that come to mind, honey, yeah. I've cleaned the toilet. I don't know.
No, trust me, yeah.
She'd be okay with that, I think.
Honey, does this look weird to you? Is this normal?
Oh, God.
Next up is a man whom I am somewhat afraid to attempt to summarize. His career has been both broad and deep, and his work has really been formative to the shape of myself growing up. Delta Green took the Cthulhu Mythos and made it modern. It imagined a war of shadowy and hyper-competent conspiracies within the bloated bureaucracy of the United States government, something that is becoming more and more difficult to imagine with each passing week. But that is neither here nor there. Additionally to that, Cthulhu is real and coming for all of us. Eldritch and hoary members of the audience, please welcome the rector magnificus, the shadow that haunts us in the shape of a man wearing the name of Dennis Detwiller. Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show.
No problem, Ben. Good to be here. I don't have Ross's voice. I can't do the Ross voice. So,
I mean,
I'm wasting my life with podcasting.
I don't know. I mean,
not wasted, but it's
not wasted. I enjoyed most of it. Yeah, it was
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's hard not to just be like, "Hey, Ross, say this thing," and I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to resist it.
Patreon, we can work something out, man. I'm a
oh man.
So the spark of getting you two on here was seeing Delta Green the Millennium on Drive Through RPG. It came out in June, and I'm gonna lead with the hotness and say, Dennis, what is Delta Green the Millennium?
Delta Green the Millennium is an update to Delta Green Countdown for the new game system with expanded ideas and some slight changes. But mostly it's taking whenever I say 1999, it's actually, we started in 1996 or something like that. So it's a book that took forever. We put that all back together and updated all the art, updated all the game mechanics. And it's about the conspiracy in the 90s, the final world order, as we put it. So
very cool. I have to ask I have to ask the question. The cover art, the iconic but incredibly edgelordy 90s cover art with the
Blair Reynolds.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, it was I noticed immediately a terrified looking John Tynes, one of the other designers, on the cover in front of a giant swastika.
Yeah.
I can understand why in the 2020s you'd want to revise that, but you want to say anything else about that?
No. I mean the big thing to know about us is most of my games in particular are in particular about murdering Nazis. And I'm not very shy about this. And the Karatakia, the Nazis in Delta Green were a feature in this book. So, and Blair Reynolds was kind of like a tack nuke of an artist. You'd set him off on a task, and is Petropavlovsk still there? Yes. So, and one day it's just gone, and you're all in their irradiated ruins. He just turned in the art. He painted tines in it, and we went, "Oh my God, that's fucking horrific and terrifying." Yes, okay, sure. I mean, if Blair was still alive, I would love to have him do another. We miss him. I feel bad for the afterlife if Blair's there, because he's cutting a swath through whoever's there right now. But yeah, that cover was more than anything else got us in trouble. Got us, in trouble with TSR. Got us, we had to, But overall, the central message of both Arc Dream and pretty much all of Pagan Publishing going back is Eastern Front enthusiasts can die. We hate them. Nazis are assholes and should be shot. That's basically how we roll. So they were meant as a target. Let's put it that way, not an encouragement. Same thing happened with Godlike. I published a game called Godlike. World War II, imagine superheroes in World War II. So I imagine the Nazi program. Everybody's like, can I play a Nazi? Fuck no. Why would you want to play? What are you, crazy? Why? Like, stupid. It's about killing Nazis. So, that's how we roll.
It's nice to know that you're on the right side of the rifle. Before asking about Ross, I'll just throw out, because I learned this yesterday. The most significant academic work on play as a function in human society was written by a Dutchman in the late 1930s, who also had a very dim view of Nazis.
I can imagine.
Shut down a student conference when he found out that the German delegation was headed by a Nazi who literally wrote a pamphlet called Judenraus. And then was put into a hostage camp by the Nazis because of his activities during the occupation of the Netherlands, which so injured his health that he died before the Netherlands were even liberated. Man. You're following in a great gaming lineage in taking that position.
That's incredible. What's his name? And you have to send me info on that.
Johann Huizinga is how it looks like it's spelled. Whether that is in fact the pronunciation of Huizinga, I don't know. And he wrote Homo Ludens, which cool. the man, the player, essentially.
Yeah.
And chapter 1 set my mind on fire, frankly, as he's like, have you considered that play predates humanity and civilization? Like, you can sit down and play a game with a dog, and you do not communicate the rules, but you both know the rules, and neither you nor the dog will violate them. I know. I'm like,
So this also brings to mind the Nazi thing, brings to mind a story of the year Delta Green Countdown came out at Gen Con. There was a guy selling awful Nazi propaganda VHS tapes at Gen Con. Like, behind the counter, literally the cleansing of the Warsaw Ghetto type stuff. And me and Scott Glancy and Mitch Gittleman hunted him down and chased him out of the floor. We basically we just hounded the shit out of him until he left. He got so nervous. And it was just crazy to us that such a thing was even possible back then. But now, I mean, we were screaming about this in 1999, and it's just crept and crept and crept. It's important to scream about it now, is what I'll say. So,
yeah, I mean, as a teenager in the 90s, you'd see skinheads every once in a while, and you'd be like, oh my God, what total dead enders? Like, who's going to sleep with them? It almost, being anti-Nazi felt unnecessary in some ways, and now it feels totally necessary.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sorry that I guess I'm not sorry. That was all good talk. So Dennis, let me ask you this next question. I asked you who would you want to talk to on this show, and you said Ross Payton. Why did you say Ross Payton?
Ross has always been just a champion for us. From the earliest days, he's been out there like, let's play Delta Green and let's get people crazy and let's make people upset. And I'm gonna roll a Detwiller scenario and just kill everybody. It's gonna be awesome. And then he started writing his own stuff. That was cool, and we just got along, and we played like the earliest iterations of Impossible Landscapes were played on Role Playing Public Radio, and a lot of the best ideas were born like live at the table there, and they've all lived on in the book. So Ross has always been kind of on our side, and one of our I won't say, he likes to argue, but he's good at it, so that's good.
Oh man, that's that high praise coming from you. Thank you. I got into Delta Green there's this period in the 90s when it came out, and then I sort of discovered it in the early 2000s, and like when the books were out of print, and so like I bought them on eBay for like twice their retail value. I paid like $90 in like 2006 or whatever for Countdown, but like I love Call of Cthulhu, but like everything is like, oh, you have to read Delta Green. Like Delta Green is it's like the ultimate thing for Call of Cthulhu, and I just reading it was pretty transformative for me, because like it's everything I wanted out of horror, and it really crystallized for me when I read the Haster Mythos in Countdown. Like that was like a type of horror that I had not yet seen in role-playing games, and that was like, this is it. I'm gonna I found my home in RPGs. This is what I want to do. And so when I started I went to Gen Con for the first time in 2007, and I met Glancy there. And I jumped in his one of his playtests for a World War I scenario, and it was the Zeppelin one, and we played. It took like 8 hours or whatever. It was an utterly ridiculous amount of time, and my character fell to his death from a couple of failed dex checks after 6 hours of playing. And I was still like, oh man, this is great. I love this. And at the end, it was like, I heard about this thing called podcasting. Maybe people need to know about Gen Con. Do they know that there's Gen Con? This is great.
Right.
And so that's where Role Playing Public Radio came from. Ever since then, like I got on the Delta Green email list and started getting ideas from the community too. Like one of the first things I remember doing was taking the idea of night floors from the Haster Mythos and let's apply it to a shopping mall. I think there was a thread on the Delta Green email list about shopping malls, and I dived into that, and I wrote night malls, and like it kind of went on from there. So that's how I got hooked on Delta Green, and but there's this whole long period after the books went out of print, but before the standalone game came out, where like there was this tiny community that knew about Delta Green and was fanatical about it, but like everyone else was like, what the hell's that? And I'm like, guys, you need to know this shit is great. I love this. And that's how I got into it, and carrying the torch during those long dark years.
It was very dark, yes.
But
so Tynes and I kind of exited RPGs right after Countdown. So we created Countdown and released it, and both got jobs working stiffs in like real creative corporations of large sizes, and went off and did video games and all that kind of stuff. Glancy stayed behind, the proverbial character in It. He just still in the house on in Seattle, waiting for us to return. So we went out into the wilderness of corporate creative life for a while, and 2015, I just me and Shane gave it a shot and said, maybe people remember this fondly, maybe they'll like it. And now we're here. It's been 11 years of just working on Delta Green. So
I mean, there is a lot about Delta Green that really makes it stand apart from other settings, and it's surprisingly easy to introduce new people to it. And I think that's one of its stronger things. I've run Delta Green so many times for so many new players, and it's pretty intuitive, really. I mean, a lot of Call of Cthulhu is, right, because you're a person, you can do people things, you don't have to explain weird powers or whatever else like that. And it's a horror movie. Everyone's at least one horror movie, and Delta Green provides here's a really good reason why you're like sticking your face in the monster. It's your job, kind of. It's your calling. It's your mission, and where Call of Cthulhu doesn't. And it's just yeah, it's really fun. It was also one of the things I really like about Millennium. I mean, very my friend Caleb Stokes did a lot of work on it, editing, and in the foreword he mentions me specifically because I'm the one who gave like, here's my copy of Delta Green Countdown, Caleb. Be very gentle with it, and Caleb's right. So it seems that he was worried about if it was going to stain my soul. I was worried he would stain the book physically. It was quite fragile, and it's like it wasn't printed that well. Like the cover is kind of peeling off.
No, it's old. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this stuff's amazing. It has amazing longevity in a really odd way. But I mean, the earliest pitch, the simplest pitch is it's the X-Files, except Mulder and Scully have vanished. And when you vanish, they'll send in another Mulder and Scully to find you. And everything has to be kept secret. And people go, oh, okay, I get it. And they jump right in. I've never had a situation where a new player was like, what do I do now? They almost always get really scared very early on and love it. And then when they die, they get happy, this seems to be the thing people keep trying to fix about Delta Green, but that's the appeal, is the mortality, the violence, the death. They're like, yay, I got chopped to pieces.
Yeah.
Because so it's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's the unexpected, the sort of like curiosity about it, like trying to learn what the hell is going on and seeing if your theories match up to what's actually happening.
Yeah, and it really ranges even with super experienced people. Like I ran Viscid. Were you in Viscid? Did you play in that at Gen Con?
No, I did the Impossible Landscapes one.
Okay.
And a couple. I did the one you did about horror at Red Hook. I forgot the name of that.
Oh yeah. The Ex Oblivion. Viscid was it's one of those scenarios I literally wrote down like 5 bullet points and sat down with Ken Hite and Scott Clancy and I think Caleb was in it and a couple other people, and literally everyone died except one character who was like near fatally wounded. And the entire last half of the scenario was that character pulling themselves from a hospital bed, carrying out all their leads and trying to get down to the morgue downstairs to destroy the body of the thing that they'd also dug up. And it was the greatest session we've ever had. Ken Hite's like, roll. Like they're literally, it's like Monte Carlo or something. And they're all dead. Like it's just a weird game. It seems to do that.
Yeah. I mean, like, going back to what you did with Haster Mythos and creating, like, sort of really defining what you call surreal horror, that genre of horror was really ill defined before the Haster Mythos. But it's always been there, right? But like, is an elusive thing, and like, it really helped me run games in that setting. Like, I just ran a game for my patrons recently, where I took some of that material and the players in the parking lot of a motel, and someone calls out from them from behind the dumpster, and they smell cigarette smoke, and when they're like, who the hell are you, what's going on, and they go around the corner, there's no one there, and it's just like, and they just like freaked everyone out. They're like, what is going on? It's just the simplest thing.
It's Lynchian horror. So.
Yeah, exactly. I was specifically thinking of that scene from Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
May I read one paragraph from Countdown where you talk about this?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Thank you. So, because again, maybe the audience doesn't know about this.
It might be Tynes. I don't know. It could be me or Tynes.
This is Tynes, because it says he's at the top of the page, but it says illustrated by you, and the illustrations are also quite gutting. But some of the threats presented in the world of Delta Green are political, some are violent, some are supernatural, some are all of the above, but some are more insidious. They work on a personal level in idiosyncratic ways that defy consistency of opposition. They cannot merely be met with badges or guns or even with reason and kindness. They are rooted in a basic cosmic principle that has cohered into quirks of behavior and obsession. Such threats strike each person differently, but always through an exploitable weakness. It might be a love of art or a fear of goldfish. There is no anticipating how it will manifest. It is like a virus, eating through humanity, exploiting the deficiencies in the immune system of the personality. This virus, this threat, this cosmic principle has a name, Hastur. It is personified in a being known as the King in Yellow. So please continue. I just wanted to give that for people.
I love everything about that chapter. So I wrote. John wrote a lot of the Road to Holly years before Delta Green. In Unspeakable Oath, he wrote Road to Holly, and that was my favorite thing I've ever read. So we would, he was running his nascent King in Yellow campaign that never really went anywhere in Columbia, Missouri, and we'd sit down and play these sessions, and it was just incredible. It was so cool. And there was a scene in a garden party where we're searching for this guy. We go to the garden party, and everybody's just hanging out in this 1920s style garden party. And we look over, and the woman, she lifts the man we're looking for out of her drink, and he's about this big, and she just eats him. And we're all like, what? And it was just incredible. And it just blew up the whole moment. We just had a great time. So I wrote Night Floors in response to that. So we did the original Delta Green, and I wrote Night Floors in 96 or 97 and ran it for John. And I really specifically wanted to upset people. Like, I wrote it to be as upsetting and as personal for me. I lived in the McAllister. It wasn't really called the McAllister, but the building's really there. And that's really funny because I get emails like, why is there a bathtub in the apartment? I don't know. Like, why is there a bathtub in the living room of the apartment? I have no idea, but it was there. I'll take you there. So I really went out of my way to make it as upsetting and disturbing and liminal and weird as I possibly could. I still get emails saying like, nice job ripping off the back rooms on Impossible Landscape. Like, I wrote this in 1996. Like, Jesus Christ, people, it's not, I love the back rooms. It's very cool, but I didn't steal it. So hopefully this will preempt a couple emails.
I have to ask, like the passage that Ben just read mentioned specifically a fear of goldfish. Does that have anything to do with the Night Floors? Because that's one of the things I remember the Night Floor is like finding the little golden statue of a goldfish. And then
that is actually from the King in Yellow book. Robert Chambers has a story in there where a sculptor and chemist creates this wondrous liquid that can transform anything into gold. And the gold, one of them is a goldfish. It's this perfect filigree. And that's where we got that. I think that's what Tynes is referring to. It's definitely what I was referring to. But yeah, I love those stories. That book, and that book is Robert Chambers, The King in Yellow from 1895, 1896, something, or maybe even later. Is just even now a fantastic read. It's such a good book. And the man was a genius. So, weird, man. Weird thinking about all this.
May I read one thing from Night Floors?
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt
no worries.
To mansplain to the audience, but it's a scenario where essentially you're looking for someone, but you get lost in a series of apartments, and I think it's in New York, right?
Yeah, it's New York City, yeah.
And there's just terrible, awful, and disturbing things like that you will encounter in these rooms. So here's one. An entire ballroom full of human-sized marionettes is found. Marionette couples sway and dance, their strings disappearing up into the dark. Marionette waiters bring empty glasses to tables of revelers. A marionette band plays a soothing melody. The investigators are completely ignored by the marionettes. Inspection of the ceiling, perhaps affected by stacking tables, reveals that the strings are locked on tracks without an operator, moving of their own free will. 1/1d4 sand loss, which I'm not going to stop to explain that, but and there's pages of this, like just pages of brilliant ideas. So it's
thank you.
Lovely to hear that you were trying to make it disturbing because you know this, but you succeeded. So I'm sorry for the interruption.
Well, no, it's fine. New York, so I grew up in New York, and I lived in New York until I guess the early '90s. So the city hadn't yet transformed into like the happy Disney version of the city it is now. It was a dangerous and kind of scary place when I was a kid. My earliest memories are like my mother getting her hair cut so Son of Sam wouldn't shoot her, and then followed 2 weeks later by the New York City blackout and riots where I was playing with Star Wars figures while people burned down the city outside in the dark on a flashlight, Luke Skywalker. And so that horror and that fear and those liminal spaces of New York, Penn Station at 4 a.m, like those things bleed through everything I wrote for Night Floors because it's such a integral part of me, and where I grew up. And I'm not happy I grew up there. It's not a nice place to grow up, but I learned a lot, and I got to carry a lot of it into my art. So Countdown's filled with a bunch of New York, the Keepers of the Faith, which is all based on a rather disturbing sign and a man asleep on the D train tracks, who was covered in bugs, just front to bottom covered in fleas that were just leaping all over him, and was coming up the steps to kind of grab me when I was maybe 8 or 9, and a sign warning that you had to wear metal boots because the rats bite beyond this point. And my grandmother would insist on us sitting right near that sign, and I was old enough to read, and I was just terrified. So stuff like that I wanted to carry over my work. John's Hastur Mythos is, probably one of the most inspiring things I've ever read, and that it gave birth to Impossible Landscapes directly. Mostly because John kind of got worn down reiterating and reworking everything that he was doing so many times. He literally got so caught up in the Lynchian madness of it that he just eventually had to step away or go crazy. And hopefully I haven't gone crazy, but I don't know. John seems really happy with the book, so I might have gone crazy. I don't know. Anyway,
I remember the playtest we did at Gen Con because I remember going, I was like, I think I got it. I'm on the same wavelength. I get it. And then I read the fucking book a couple years later. He's like, oh, he was playing me this entire time. Because like I remember we were playtested the section where we're in Dorchester House, the psychiatric institute, and I think I figure it out by like, if we close our eyes and do it, we can interact with things. And then years later in the book, he's like, if the players have a theory, go with it. It'll definitely work. Just feed into their madness. That it's like, that's.
Yeah, it was
a long con. Like it was.
It was literally a long con. It was really hard to follow up Night Floors with something meaningful, and you guys really helped. So I really appreciate that. And I was really glad to upset Caleb. So like the reveal, we did a reveal, and Caleb was like, "I'm leaving the table. Like, let's go." Like they all just kind of stepped away for a couple minutes, and I was like, "Yay, I did it." Anyway, I'm thinking of these times, it's very surreal. All my life in New York, my childhood, my hanging out with Tynes in the Pagan House in Columbia, and then in Seattle, it seems very distant now, but we're still buddies in a very weird way. Everybody talks all the time, and that's such a strange idea to me, that we're all just in communication still over these books.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm still like, I met Caleb in 2009, and we're still meet each other every week and hang out. Like, I talk to him every week. Yeah. And play board games together. We're going to Gen Con together this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I miss Gen Con. Caleb has become an amazing writer in his own right. God's Teeth for Delta Green is just an incredible book. And everything he produces, I'm just super happy with. So that's a huge plus. But do you guys have any questions about what we did or how we did it, or if we're still alive inside or anything like that?
I know for me, one of the things that I didn't expect when I started reading Impossible Landscapes was the inclusion of the Ars Goetia, because that's not really. I mean, it's sort of that's not really in the countdown material from what I remember.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I included that. So I don't want to spoil Impossible Landscapes too much. The conception of Delta Green is that there are unknown things beyond the veil of science and man that can destroy the world, and we need to stop them and just hold them at bay and not study them, just destroy them. And Impossible Landscapes is quite literally the opposite of that. It is, man is the center of everything, and the mind of man moves all the powers of the universe, and everything else is just a special effect. So, the Space Shuttle Challenger, President Reagan, cars, these are all just vague ideas on the surface of this roiling play that goes on forever. And a lot of people, I wanted to illustrate that fact that you could trace anything back to it. So including the Ars Goetia, which I think I have 16 copies of that book dating back many volumes. And I adore it. I adore the demonic hierarchies. I adore all occult, quote unquote, science. I have a huge collection of UFO and occult lore. And I really very badly wanted to illustrate that demons are just people, like people are demons. And wouldn't that be more horrific to find out that the guy who's on the electric scooter who's delivering, Peter Raps is actually Manus, the 12th demon from the third circle of hell, who can do things for you, like know the name of any true servant of the king. Or that's really upsetting to me. I don't know why. So we worked it in there, and it worked really well. Like people have requested T-shirts for particular demons, so which is cool.
Hell yeah, I want a Stolas T-shirt. Yeah, I know when in my run through of Impossible Landscape, I get there's there's ways to let players have the ability to summon these demons or contact them, and I made sure one of my players here's easy way to summon any of them. Talk to any of them that you want. Go nuts, and it's because it's like. At least for my regular player base, there's at the beginning of a mission or whatever, Delta Green, they're like, oh, can I get this or this, And so, like, when my players ask, can I have a grenade launcher? I'm like, yeah, sure. I mean, they're like, it's not going to help, is it? Like, like they know me well enough that I would never give them a grenade launcher if it would actually matter. And so if they have a grenade launcher, they know it's going to be so much worse. And so, like, if I give them access to summoning those demons, that's not a good sign.
Like, this is a bad thing. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do this. The thing recently that's been really funny is the congressional. If you guys haven't, on a completely different topic, if you guys haven't paid attention to the congressional hearings on UAP activity and biologics and all that kind of stuff. We just happened in 2015 when I did the rewrite of all Majestic and everything. We just changed it to the program in 2015. We changed it to the program. We called them biologics. We had recovery team data, and it lines up very cleanly, completely by accident. But basically, every couple months now, the Delta Green group chat is like, what the fuck? They called it Kona Blue. It's called the recovery program is Kona Blue. It's got a blue triangle on it. What the fuck? Where's my check? Motherfucker. Like, and there was another one like, oh, the UFO is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside due to some strange math. And I'm like, yeah, I remember when I wrote that in 1993 or something. So,
God.
I mean, you must have read the Mothman prophecies.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Keel. I've read all of Keel's books.
I mean, it certainly sounds like some of his stuff where, in some way, his creations were made manifest in the world. Although I had not considered that Delta Green was being made manifest by this before, which is a new disturbing thing to consider.
Yeah, that would not be a good outcome. Let's put it that way. We don't want Delta Green to be made manifest. But yeah, it's been Oh, you're gonna say something?
Well, yeah, I remember years ago, like this was a reoccurring issue. Would people take Delta Green material and wrap it into conspiracy theories and occult?
Oh
stuff?
my
Like,
god!
predating LLMs and all that stuff by like all the way in the 2000s. People are like,
Yeah.
oh look, here's this Wikipedia page that grabs some stuff from Delta Green about OSS
Yep.
or whatever, and like that
Yeah.
was just
No, there was a New York Times bestseller about Julia Child that had Delta Green in it.
Yeah, that's it.
It was like an Oprah book club book, and it was like all the reviews were like, my favorite part is when the fictional agency that hunts Cthulhu was in it. Like all the reviews in Amazon. But then what was the other one? Gaia? Do you know Gaia products? Like the feel good, like yoga crunchy.
Oh yeah.
We sell yoga mats on Facebook, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they would post stuff from Delta Green all the time. Like Greys aren't really a race. They are a robot that for a fungoid race that is from near Pluto. And we'd be like, where'd you get this? Like, take this down. Or, watching a Nazi gold documentary and someone throws up a map of point 103, one of the Delta Green locations. I'm like, I drew that. Why is that on a documentary? Some guy just did a Google search for like Nazi Antarctic base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet I must speak up for the crazies and say it speaks to the strength of the myth that you told.
Thanks.
I mean, we'll wait till the first serial murder happens, but like, until then,
yeah.
I mean, the people are clearly persuaded, and it feels explanatory and correct in some way. And I was thinking about this driving around today, thinking about, what I would say about this, because again, Delta Green, I feel was very personally significant to me, and it did in some way explain the world to a teenage me in the late 90s. It felt instructive and correct in some way, so I can sympathize with people who are like, well, it feels so right, it seems so right, it must be real, actually, like, even though you're like it's all made up, clearly it's so in some way it must actually be real. But I'm sorry, I'm driving us into a real crazy ditch here, so I'll just shut up.
No, it's okay. You can tell me. We get those guys at Gen Con every once in a while. Yeah, I know. You can tell me, right? Like, like, okay, no, I'm not a disinformation agent for Majestic.
You gotta stay in deep cover. You can't tell anybody. You gotta go.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, the brilliance of Delta Green is that everything is as grounded as it can be until you add the unnatural element in it, right? Like, because like even things, other RPG settings that I've seen in the same sort of similar genre are often fall victim to a lot of like tropes or sort of cliched writing where like the villains are too well organized or they're too perfect. Like every group, every faction in Delta Green is written in a very realistic way in that they're all dysfunctional as hell and like have crippling internal problems, which is Delta Green is a hot mess, but so the Karateka and so are Majestic 12 and so is everyone. And like these flaws make it possible to like for them to fail and everything falls apart. And I find that's what appealed to me is that it wasn't like, I read a lot of stuff like saying the world of darkness and like, oh, Pentex, the corporation, oh, they're so slick and awesome and smart. And like only your brave heroes possibly have a chance of stopping them, but only limited ways, never matters. And no, Delta Green, everything's fucked up behind the scenes and everything's about to explode constantly. So,
that was an early rule. And I mean, that's something Scott Glancy really brought to the table was like an expansive knowledge of intelligence gathering techniques from the 1940s onward. And he wrote a big blue book kind of timeline for Delta Green. And his central theme was all human endeavor is flawed. All. No matter how pure, it's always going to eat itself at some points. And we built that into everything. And it comes across. And we avoided the whole like serpent people killed Kennedy problem, which you see in every other game. The Migo are in charge of TWA, but no one knew. And you're like, what? Why are these 7 Mythos entities teamed up and ran the 1968 Democratic Convention? And that's why there were riots. What the hell? Where am I? Humans are pointless and small in Delta Green, and that's a key thing.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of the other RPGs fail to forget that the primary mission of this setting is to provide a framework to justify the conflict that the players are going to be involved in. And so,
Yeah.
And like, it's like, oh, there's this cool thing, all these organizations, and they're all cool. Like they get too enamored of their own characters and factions. And
you get you get that in a lot of multi-author books. Like when you have 25 people in the credits, everybody's trying to riff a little bit. It's like being on stage with Eddie Van Halen. Like you're like, okay, well, he just played, so I got to do something that's kind of like that. So all this stuff kind of takes on a similar sheen in bigger books. And we, the Delta Green authors, it was just me, Glancy, and Tynes, and we would literally just, I'm going to go write this, and you read it, and you can give me like 4 notes, and I'm probably not going to change anything. That was like every situation, and we were all kind of cool with it, and it's kind of continued. Like Caleb will hand something in, and we'll either go or this is amazing. There's no like middle setting, and that's when you're kind of onto something Delta Green wise. So
I have to speak. If I can make one personal plea, is that you should publish the Juggalo scenario, which
I don't know legally if we can.
You can. He has different names for it. I forgot what it's called. It's all about the loop, not the whoop whoop. Ben, just so you know, this is on the Delta Green Patreon or the paywall, the Ghost.io, and it's about a time loop where the players are reliving the same 3 days at basically a Juggalo festival, and it's honestly a great exploration of the time loop sort of like theme, and I love it.
I already have chills just from the concept of being trapped in a Juggalo concert.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the legal problems though, because aren't Juggalos a legally recognized gang or association or something like that by the FBI?
I think they got that removed. I think that was
at least there's some peace in the world. Let me look.
Yeah, exactly. Some justice for the Juggalos.
I mean, maybe. I have to listen to that one. I haven't heard that one yet. I know it's up there.
It's
been popular. So, but yeah, I mean,
love a good hook. But I do want to ask, in terms of revising for Millennium, though. I read Countdown cover to cover. Like, aside from the new game mechanics, adjusting for Delta Green.
Nothing much.
Okay.
I mean, trying to think of specifics. Some historical inaccuracies were corrected.
Okay.
So, like, not in this book, but in the conspiracy book, there were some dates that were wrong, and those were corrected. And we're extreme sticklers for, like, when was the air service founded? You can't write that. This is 1953. Like, we'll yell at each other over stuff like that. So all those revisions were kind of taken in mind, and anything that got marked up, it would go back to the original author. They would examine it at length. And this is another kind of key thing that I try and hit upon. We shall serve no wine before it's time. We're Orson Welles at the table trying to sell peas or whatever. We just sit and work on it until we can all read it and love it. And if we don't publish it. And I don't care about dates. I don't care about we need a book for Gen Con or we need a book for Christmas. Screw that. I want a book like Delta Green or Countdown that people will still be talking about 30 years from now, at the minimum. And if I can do more within my super narrow, simple, stupid little hobby, I will do the most I can possibly can inside that. I don't think what I'm doing is super important, but I want to care about what I'm doing, to the point where I don't look back on, like, there's not a single pagan book I look back on and go, I wish I hadn't published that ever. And I don't ever want to feel that way about anything I work on book-wise. So that's like a central theme that we really kind of push for.
I am looking forward to one of the upcoming books in particular. Obviously, I'm biased. The shotgun scenario book. Because I have one of my shotgun scenarios in there.
Oh, cool.
Under new management.
Which one?
Under new management.
I did an illustration for that. I did all the illustrations. I just finished the illustrations for that book, I think. So I did one for that. So
awesome! I can't wait to see it. But you also have a couple of other brief scenarios. I know in media res is going to be in there, right?
Yeah, it's one of Tynes' original messed up scenario. I got to play in that twice. The first time I played in it, my player character lived 8 seconds.
Could you tell the audience about in media res? I'm pretty sure I know what that is, but
yeah, so it's like a one-off scenario where you basically are escaped mental patients, but you all wake around a body, and one of you is holding up the face of the body that has been cut off, and you say something, and then you all wake up, and you're in a house. Don't have any idea how you got there or what your past is. At the beginning of this scenario, my character realized one of the other inmates had a gun. So I went to reach for the gun, fumbled, he rolled a critical success and shot me in the face. And that was the end of my character. I was like, see you guys later. And then played in it again a couple days later. But I was just like, whoa, that was the quickest character death I've ever seen. Like, it was literally, here's your sheet. I'll take that back now. But yeah, great scenario. We're also doing Grace Under Pressure, which is a very early pagan scenarios coming out in its own booklet. And I think I have something in there. I don't.
Grace Under Pressure is the submarine one, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a fun one. And we used to run that live action like a LARP in a gym kind of thing where people would have like little radios and little lights on their heads, and we'd have deep ones grab you and stuff like that. It was fun.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. I'll have to run the new version. Or is that? Yeah, I definitely want to get the text whenever that's ready to.
Yeah, we can share that with you. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
that'd be awesome.
That one's ready for press. That's done and ready to go. So.
And what's that one called again?
Grace Under Pressure.
Grace Under Pressure. Okay.
Jeff Barber wrote it. Jeff Barber wrote Blue Planets, and
yeah, he's a friend.
Yeah. Good guy.
I'm gonna run the next campaign for RPP. I'm gonna run as the new Blue Planet.
Cool. Yeah, I love his Blue Planet stuff.
Yeah, it's great. Are there any other non-shotgun scenarios in the book aside from those two?
I don't recall. I did like 14 or 15 shotgun scenario illustrations, and then there's in media res and something else in there. So I wrote a screenplay that I sold not too long ago to a production company, and it's based on a horror idea I had, and it's called it's called Lithic, the screenplay. So if you ever see it, it'll be like a Dark Sky production or something like that. I wrote it up for Delta Green, the monster, and it's a neat little conceit. So I think that might be in there.
Nice.
I don't want to ruin it, but it'll be something fun. It'll be something fun for you to run.
Hell yeah.
So and I'm working on a bunch of books. I'm writing Deep State, which is the examination of March technologies in Majestic, and I'm writing Falling Towers, which is the destruction of the Fate, the New York campaign. And the Fate is really interesting because that was my high school Call of Cthulhu campaign that I ran. So that was like 1986 and I ran all those. Those are the main baddies that my high school friends were fighting, Stephen Alziz and Belial, and now they're the same group. 30 years later, is playing Falling Towers, the campaign to destroy the Fate, and they're just like completely. Their minds are blown because they remember, they were 13 when they were fighting Stephen Alziz the first time, and now
you're doing your own hit. Like,
now they're 50. 52.
They come back to put him to bed once and for all.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Alziz
is you bastard.
Yeah, he's so much fun, and Caleb's doing a great job with him on his little campaign. So I love him as a villain.
Yeah, he's great. He really is. I've used him obviously in scenarios as well as a great. I had to make a cameo in my run of Impossible Landscapes.
Oh, cool. That's a good place for him.
Yeah, because I use Club Fate and the Keepers of the Old Faith a bit in there because there's just a lot of really great stuff to work in.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very fun to like. There's Discord remote or emoji based on Stephen LC's now on a couple of the servers. So yeah,
Nice. That's great.
yeah. But yeah, of course, I mean, aside from the shotgun snares, I know the thing I'm looking forward to is the new campaign you're working on, the set in the same town, because that's always been a conceit of mine of like an entire campaign set in the same place the entire time.
It's called Out of the Deadlands, and it's about tulpas and thought
Very
forms
Stephen King.
and
yeah.
No, I mean it's more it's really hard to explain. It is Keel. It is very John Keel. And it's so I the challenge I made myself with Impossible Landscapes was I want to write the King in Yellow campaign that Times will like, and they managed to do that. And this one was I want to write a campaign that no one will complain about being difficult to run. And I want it to be engaging and cool and have all the bells and whistles, but still somehow be so streamlined and carefully put together that people don't look at it as a huge undertaking. So I'm working on that one, but that's slow and steady.
I know.
That takes forever. I mean, Impossible Landscapes was years of just sitting in my basement. So
yeah, and it shows. Like, there's so many little touches to it, and there's so many. There's little secrets in the book, like between. Hidden messages and
we're working on a new edition of that. So the thing a lot of people don't know is that Impossible Landscapes, when I handed it in, there was another 80,000 words. And that 80,000 words includes like a tarot resolution mechanic, so you can use the King in Yellow tarot to run the whole game, and a whole other scenario which is as big as Night Floors, which takes place at the Chateau de Port, the French building of doors that the original Castaigne lived in. And we want to do a new edition which includes all of this. And we're talking crazy ideas about, like, I would love to do a book that's twice as big and keep the original book in the middle and then add notes around the side with diagrams and other bits. So the book would be, it looks like Acme Novelty Library, it's 3 feet tall. And
if you need some playtesters for that, I can.
Well, I'd love to run it. So so I've run Impossible Landscapes 11 times or 12 times now. And 2 of those times, the groups have gone back. They've gotten to the end, 3 have gotten out, and they've gone back to 1995 to try and stop themselves from entering the building. Like, independent of each other. They had no idea. They both did it anyway. So I was like, this has to be something. I need to, this should just be a whole world these people can go into. They don't go back to normal Delta Green after this. It just keeps going. So I'd love to get that done, but again, I work from 5 in the morning to 5 at night, and I still have mounds of work to go. And I write and draw pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I can't keep up. And I mean, it's such a heartening thing to wake up to because I'm so engaged in the work, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Okay, so I have this idea for I want to run Impossible Landscapes again too.
Yeah.
And with different players. But I had this idea, and so I could run it by you, who better? And my idea would be to start it as a different campaign, like a different system, like a fantasy campaign.
Yeah, sure.
And and then the players go on adventures, and then they're tasked with finding someone, going out, and they go there, and they go in some dungeon or some place, and it goes totally dark, and then they wake up, and then their group therapy session at the Dorchester house.
Yeah, you should definitely do something.
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
Yeah, and the part I'm missing now is I would run the first part of the campaign in a different system, and I haven't figured out what fantasy system, because Delta Green I really like because it has the bond system, it has that and the home system to represent you have an emotional life, because I want the campaign to be about the players are trying to figure out which is their actual life and which is the illusion, right? And
you should grab our Black Company game, because it's Delta Green's little brother.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a D100 game. It's fantasy. It's got magic and swords and sorcery and all that kind of stuff.
I have done some playtesting for it. Does it have like a kind of like a bond or sort of an emotional system in it?
It has a stress relationship thing where you're trying to like, for example, it's about soldiers serving the ring wraiths, basically. Like you're just normal bums who happen to work for the Witch King of Angmar, who can destroy you with a thought. And he gives commands like kill every child with blue eyes that was born after the winter solstice in this town. And you have to go do it because it's horrible, and maybe you can cover it up. Maybe you can give the women gold and get them out of town with their children, or don't get caught. But it has an interrelationship program between the soldiers. So they're real soldiers. Like every soldier has their favorite complaint. This goddamn pack is killing me. You do that, you can reduce your stress. You beat up a buddy, you go out drinking, you spend money in gambling, get your ass beat, you lose some stress. It's all about building and losing combat stress in the game. So it's kind of like that. And you have your best friend. If they get killed, it's you completely lose it if you fail your roll. So I would recommend that or something, or just use the system and just kind of make it another setting and kind of set it up like that. But that could be really fun, I think, and easy to do. I mean, originally when I ran Night Floors, the first thing I ran was Victim of the Art. Oh yeah, which is like a very simple Delta Green scenario where like a monster has been called down by a guy, and but I very carefully put Night Floors material in a Victim of the Art. So like they move back a desk, and the back, it's clearly a prop. The desk is not built properly. It has no drawer. It's just an X with cardboard painted on the inside. And they're looking at this in this kid's room like, what the hell why is it like this? Like, then they realize the bed isn't real and a couple other things. But then it got completely overshadowed by the murders, and they went and did other things. And later on in the Night Floors, they find an entire room with this kid's prop room, all painted up copies of it. And they were not happy. Let's just put it that way. The players were like, oh, I don't like this. Like, so doing a fantasy version of that where you're like, you don't know, it's a talisman kind of world where you're going back and forth. That could be really cool.
Yeah. The idea is like, I want the players to like, no, this is my real life, or that's my real life. And then they have to like go and like, I want to go back, or like, no, fuck the fantasy world. I want to.
Well, I'm writing a scenario for Deep State right now where they're experimenting with drugs that they discovered Majestic in the 1950s called Substance 18. And when you take it, you go to Zoldasir at night. You dream into the dreamlands, this last city in the middle of the desert, where it's like Mesopotamia or something, and the priests wear silver masks and run away with the dead. And basically, it's a prison escape where you're in this cubicle-like biological testing environment in the day, and at night you're in this weird Middle Eastern city in some other world, and you're plotting your escape there. And you don't look like yourself. One guy's like 9 feet tall, ebony skinned, and he's actually just a little dude in the real world. And they're identifying each other by saying like, do you remember Cheers? And, and they're singing like, and where everybody knows your name. You're like, okay, yeah, you're one of us. And then you're plotting the escape. So I'm building that scenario right now. It's really fun. So yeah, it sounds like a kind of similar track.
Yeah. Are you going to add more material for the Dreamlands then in that book?
Yeah. I mean, the Dreamlands.
I mean, yeah, since the Slide of the Handman, but that was
since the Slide of the Handman. I mean, the big thing is like people always turn away from the central premise of nihilistic horror, and I think this is an internal human thing. It's fear. Mm-hmm. It's the ultimate idea that humanity is kind of worthless, so no one's going to the stars, no one's going to do anything. We're going to appear and flicker out just like every other creature on the planet. Good luck. That's really upsetting to a lot of people on like a fundamental level. So they immediately, like when you say Dreamlands, they're like, yay, I can escape from Delta Green. I'm going to go to the Dreamlands and get on a big clipper ship and sail to see King Karains, and they're all going to be happy. And it's like,
cats. No. Yeah, I get to talk to cats. Yeah.
No, it's going to be awful, just like Delta Green. Trust us. We'll make it awful in a way you're not comfortable with at all. And you're going to show up and go, this looks right, and then you're going to get to the end and go, why do I feel so empty and horrible inside? And we're going to go, gotcha. That's
Delta Green in a nutshell. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna get you one way or the other.
As we're winding down, Ross, is there anything that you want to plug?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, I wrote a system-free scenario called the Night Clerk, architectural horror and themed, about a hotel where you go to sleep, you wake up and you can't get out, and it's this infinite maze where every door leads to a different pocket universe. And I wrote it to be sort of this open-ended thing. And of course, I'm on the patreon.com/rppr. I've been on Patreon now for a decade, so I have 10 years of bonus episodes. I write RPG scenarios, mini games. We have a great Discord community, and I run games every month for patrons. I run Delta Green regularly for patrons. So if you want to play it, and sign up for the patreon.com/rppr. I'll even give you a discount code. I'll message it to you so you can get your half off your first month or something. So yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis, I feel like we've talked an awful lot about things that you've made that are available for purchase, but anything you want to underline?
Delta-green.com is our ghost site. It's a pay site, but unlike other companies, like I just released 193 pages of raw text for the next Delta Green book for people who join. You can just go download it. There are hundreds of PDFs on there, dozens of scenarios, dozens of spells, monsters, that kind of stuff. And we have a really kind of vibrant community there. So I really recommend going there if you're a new Delta Green player looking for ideas, or you want to just see what's coming up. We constantly preview everything. And then beyond that, it's a fun site. Beyond that, we have a bundle up with Fanatical right now, but it's coming down in about 5 days. I don't know if we'll make it in time.
This will be up on Sunday, so let me make a note.
Yeah, if you go to Fanatical and just search for Delta Green, you'll find it. And that bundle is really cheap, and it includes like literally years worth of gameplay. It has impossible landscapes. It has God's Teeth. It's got everything. So,
wow. Well, leaving with the core of nihilistic horror is probably a good way to go out. So I will say, Dennis, Ross, thank you so much for taking the time to chat.
Sure.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah,
Anytime.
thanks. It was fun. Yeah.